First, we got to get into what's going on with Jon Jones. I'm not going to tell you anything new, right? He continues to hold up the division. We've been saying this for years, but all types of fighters are coming forward and saying, "Hey, what's going on here?" I mean, what is going on? Well, what's happening is Tom Aspinall is just being made to wait. Jon Jones does this fight after fight after fight. He doesn't need the money, right? Of course, he wants the money, but he don't. He can wait a few months. He gets paid big bucks. And when he fights, people are coming to watch. He's making a lot of money in one fight every year, every 2 years. So that's why he was able to wait and get right for the heavyweight division for 2 or 3 years before he fought. Well, guys like Alexander Volkov and others are saying, "Hey, we're frustrated. Everybody is waiting. You're holding the division up, right?" And that's not like an exact quote. I'm just telling you this is what the fighters are talking about. You're holding the division up. So then there's calls to strip Jon Jones of the heavyweight title. That is not going to happen, right? Jon Jones has special rules that are made just for him. So that title is not being stripped. We're going to see Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, right? But we just keep repeating the same history with Jon Jones. He's going to make you wait a year or two. You're gonna be rusty, right? And they're saying, hey, be careful uh, of going through the same thing that Michael Chandler went through, and that's that you wait on Conor McGregor, and then he never actually fights. But this is different because there's a title on the line. Jon Jones is either going to have to fight at some point or retire. So that's where we're headed with that. Now, as we move forward, you got some other big topics. Let's get into Merab Dvalishvili first. Okay, this guy posts photos of an injury. You see, I know you guys have seen this by now. The toe, it does not look good, right? But he's done this before, right? Had injuries going into fights, but he's got still 2 weeks. That thing is going to heal up. Not perfect, but it'll heal up enough. His coach uh, was on Submission Radio, and he says, "I can't win with that guy. I literally leave for a day and something goes wrong." He loves to rile everyone up, and the thing is, as much as people think uh, that it's stupid or this or that, he would never post something that's going to take him out of a fight. So Dvalishvili's coach is saying, hey, the photo that he posted is not going to take him out of a fight. He's not that crazy. He's not going to do something that would risk the fight. But he does post things of what's happening right now. And we know he went into the last fight with Umar and had an injury and held it from the commission, right? Which is the commission's fault. He tricked the California commission. He got into the fight, and we all know that he still looked good and fought well and beat Umar. So this is not something, and his coach is saying the same thing. It's going to slow him down. But I can relate to the coach. I'm a coach myself. And if you turn your back for 1 minute on your athletes, or in this case, your fighters, they are going to do something crazy. They're going to do something crazy, you know? And the crazy always results in an injury in a situation that shouldn't even happen. Now, at least Merab is, he's training, he's doing things like that. So sometimes, and I don't even know, I haven't read far enough to know how this toe situation has come about, and it's his right, little toe, if you will. So there is going to be some pressure on it during the course of the fight when you're moving side to side. I mean, it's right there where you put a lot of pressure, but it's not going to phase Merab. It's just not. This guy's, I mean, these guys train for this. They're going into fights with some sort of injury almost every time. You're almost never 100%, and it's not going to slow him down. Because in the same breath, Merab is also saying, hey, I want 2 more title fights this year. And what does that say about the Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley, who's waiting to fight for the title, but Merab saying, hey, I'm going to beat you without even having to say that, and then I'm going to go defend the title 2 more times this year. He wants to be the most active uh, champion in the UFC. And guess what? If he did beat Sean O'Malley, the UFC would welcome that because it's hard to fill pay-per-view events, especially Going back to what we were talking about Jon Jones a minute ago, if you have more champions like Jon Jones, the UFC would have to set some rules in how often these title fights have to take place. But you got to respect others, like in the light heavyweight division where we had what 3 or 4 champions inside the same year because 2 of them decided, hey, I'm not going to be able to fight for 6 to 8 months, so I'm going to go ahead and relinquish the title, and then I'll try to come back and get it. Jon Jones says, no, I'll just hold on to it for 18 months, 2 years, and put the whole division on hold. But fortunately, Merab Dvalishvili is not that way, and he wants to fight as often as possible because guess what? Dvalishvili is still young in the game somewhat. He needs the money. Jon Jones doesn't. So yeah, you're going to see some of these champions wanting to fight a lot when they start seeing that money come in, especially if they're defending the belt. You got the belt, the next fight's going to be even bigger, right? That's the way it goes. Now, Conor McGregor has been in and out of the news constantly. We don't really cover it because the fact is we're getting tired of covering it. You know, Conor McGregor is one of my favorite fighters, always has been. But it's just got to the point where it's not realistic that he's ever going to fight for the title now. So that means that I don't really care on some level. But Nate Diaz is calling him out, and I don't know how realistic this is because Nate Diaz is also calling out Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria. Definitely not fighting Ilia Topuria. Max Holloway, if he loses and he's not in title contention, maybe. Max Holloway might go in there and just whoop up on Nate Diaz. But Diaz versus McGregor, I could see that happening. Right? The UFC is reluctant to give McGregor a fight until he signs a new contract. But those days, it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, you're going to lose McGregor at some point. Might as well get the 2 fights in rather than nothing. So it's going to get to that point. But Diaz versus McGregor, even though both guys aren't even in the hunt at all and will never fight for a title again, in my humble opinion, the UFC would still love to see that trilogy. And quite frankly, that could probably headline uh, a pay-per-view event. I mean, it would have to. But then it's also, you know, the people are going to be upset because it's like these two have nothing to do uh, with being in title contention. You know, are people really going to pay for it? Yeah, they will because of the names and just the fact they're fighting each other. It doesn't matter if they're in title contention or not. The reality is neither one will ever be again. It doesn't seem that way. So this is the next best option, and we get to see the guys fight. So hey, we'll take it. That seems to be the way that this thing is going. You asked, and we delivered. The TCMMA merch shop is now live. Yes! And we got all different types of products, including hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and if you drink coffee, we got coffee mugs too. You better believe it. But what's trending right now is the new Brazil shirts. Don't invite Brazil to the party, because if you do, Brazil is going to win 9 times out of 10 and wreck the party, especially in MMA. That's for sure. These products will help grow the show. So if you support the show, get you a product, a t-shirt, a hat, a hoodie, or something along those lines. This your boy, Chris Cross.